Last night?
Hey, y'all, we're here. It's live TV and live TV. Y'all, I got a haircut. I finally got a haircut. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Jesus, for sending me the magician who's really my beautician, because my hair was so heavy and so long, and I kept saying, I don't have time to go to the beauty shop. I don't have time. I don't have time. I took the time, so I finally got a haircut. Yay. My buddy Paul Kiker is here, and he's such a baby. I can't even tell. He and I can't discuss what I'm going to discuss. He wasn't old enough to know about it. He wasn't here when it happened. On March 5th, this date, in 1963, in my opinion, the greatest voices in country music silenced. On this day, Patsy Cline and her dear friends, Cowboy Copus, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and Randy went down. Randy was the pilot, her manager. They went down and landed in Camden, Tennessee, as their plane exploded, and very little to identify anybody was left. It was a sad, sad day in country music. And I'm going to play a song for y'all that I don't know if Paul Kiker's ever even heard, because he's a baby. You were born in what year?
74.
74! He was born in 74. She died in 63. I remember the moment she died. I remember everything about it. I remember turning on my pink radio in Orlando, Florida, to 5.9 was the station, and they played I Fall to Pieces by Patsy Cline. And so we're going to play it right now in honor, in memory, to salute my opinion, just my opinion. Y'all know when you tune in here, you get my opinion quite often, and today you're going to get a lot of it. But my opinion, Patsy Cline was the greatest voice in country music ever. She and her best friend, Loretta Lynn, were together day in and day out. Patsy had just given Loretta clothes to wear as she was expecting babies again. When we think about this, it was a day in history to never be forgotten, because today on the radio, you will still hear this beautiful voice, Patsy Cline. Here we go.
Want me to act like we've never kissed?
Okay, you got to hear one of my favorite songs and my favorite voice ever. As much as I loved Loretta, Patsy was the best. Let's talk a little bit about a gentleman that was on some of her recording sessions.
Yeah, so when I was water skiing, and he was family friends with my father and some of the others, a gentleman by the name of Harold Bradley from Nashville. And I was telling Sherry about it, so I did a quick Google search to look at all of his details. He was born in Nashville in 1926. And he's
older than me, Bill Senior. He's older than me.
Yeah, so he actually played the guitar. Never played the band, but he played on many albums by Patsy, Cline, other country music stars. He was one of the most recorded guitarists in history.
Wow.
And he was inducted into, let's see here, in the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2006. He passed away in 2019.
Wow.
But he was a pretty amazing individual. His wife was a former Miss America.
Oh, cool.
And they were great people and down to earth. And you would never know. He just somebody happened to know
a
him.
super talent.
Yeah.
A super talent.
Never once told us that himself. Somebody else told us all the
Isn't
the
that
details
weird?
about it.
Yeah. Well, there's I tell everybody's got a talent. You may not be able to do this, you may not be able to do this, but I bet you can bake the best cake in the world, or you might make the best biscuits in the world. And yesterday, somebody, and Jan Stevens, I love you, and nobody but you would have come up with this. Can you imagine, do you like crackling cornbread? Have you ever had crackling cornbread? Okay. Yeah. She came up with this plan. Now, I've got to make it and see if it works, because everybody has a talent. Well, Jan has lots of talents, but when she said, y'all ever thought about crackling biscuits or hoe cakes? And I thought, cracklings in biscuits or hoe cakes. Well, you put gravy over it, and the gravy and the meat, that might be good. So I'm going to test drive it. So if you have a talent, put it on Facebook and share it with all of us, because every time I do a weird recipe, I share it with y'all, and then y'all do it. And then you say, oh, that worked. Well, one of these days I'm going to do one that doesn't work, because I'm not super talent. But I try to put things together that, okay, I love pecans, I love chocolate, I love butter. How could you mess that recipe up? So I made a recipe called a Yoo-hoo dump cake. Have you ever drank a Yoo-hoo?
I have.
Well, I made me a Yoo-hoo dump cake, and it was so good. But then I made the second one, and because Lent begins, and it's today Ash Wednesday?
That's a good question.
Lent's beginning anyway, and I have a friend who is he's going to fast and do just water and just electrolytes, I think for 7 days. Well, I told Paul, I can fast from midnight till noon. From midnight till noon. After that, I gotta have something to eat. I gotta have something to eat. So the worst thing you can do is make a Yoo-hoo dump cake and have a little bit of it left, because you will pick at it till it's all gone. So yesterday, I threw away the last of what was there, because I knew if I didn't, fasting or Lent or any other reason, I would be picking at that cake.
Oh, yeah.
So, trying to do better, trying to drink more water, trying to do all these things. But I can't breathe, y'all. I've been wheezing so bad. So if today I choke up, he'll be doing the show and I'll be going like this. But I've had this junk off and on 2 months, and it just keeps coming back. So today I have a doctor's appointment. I'm going to let the doctor say, well, you ought to do this or you ought to do that, because I've tried everything I know. So, and I know a lot of y'all have been sick. We about got sick last night when homes were evacuated off Price Creek. About 20 homes were evacuated because of fires. We've seen the California fires, we've seen the South Carolina fires, we've seen the North Carolina fires, now we saw the North Georgia fires. And we have a photo of that, and one of our friends lives up that way, and her home was evacuated. And when we think about this, it's not really that far from where your farm is.
No, I would say Price Creek, depending upon where it is. I mean, the entrance to Price Creek.
Pickens-Gilmer County join up there.
By the flight of the bird is up a mile.
Yeah.
Maybe a mile and a half.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say a mile and a half from where we live.
And you know how the wind was blowing last night?
Oh, yeah.
You know how easy it would be to blow a spark from here to there and ignite more homes? And so people were evacuated. Everybody's back at home. Everybody's good. Everybody's okay. The rain came. Did y'all's phones blow up all night last night? Did your phone blow up all night?
Mine didn't, surprisingly.
Oh, honey, mine was like ding, ding. And I'm like, what now? And it was another alert, another alert. I'm glad we got those alerts. I'm glad we got all the rain we got because it put the fires out. So thankful.
We needed it, you know, and I got up last night, so I had just put out 20 bales of wheat straw on some areas for the future house.
Did the wind not blow it away?
Well, I woke up, you know, the wind was just, you could hear it. It woke me up.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was rumbling a little bit. So I pulled up and looked at the radar to see if there was any tornadoes. And then I could hear the rain. And I told Holly, I said, look, and wheat straw, y'all, I went to Ace Hardware the other day. It was over $10 a bale. And I'm sitting there staring at the ceiling. I'm like, I can't believe it took me 2 hours to put 20 bales out. All of it's going to be blown away. But the rain came in just in time to hold it down. So
good.
I woke up this morning. I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Yeah. Boy, we have so much to thank him for. And I'll tell you what I'm thanking him for today. Y'all are going to get it today. Last night, I cried like a baby as I watched my president. He is my president. I'm so honored to have voted for him. I'm so thankful that I was allowed to vote for him. My vice president, I'm so happy. But to see last night, I'm bawling as this 13-year-old child who was given 5 months to live, has lived 5 years, is being honored by the President of the United States. And I'll just say this, I learned this a long time ago. You can't fix stupid even with duct tape. Anybody sitting in the chamber of the house where we were honoring Minnie, sitting on your hands, texting on your phone, holding up stupid signs, shame on yourself. Shame on yourself. You do not deserve to make $200,000 a year that comes out of my tax money. You do not deserve to be honored. And do you know after 2 terms, those idiots can draw for the rest of their life? Not only are you paying for them to sit on their butt today and to hold up stupid, demeaning signs, you're going to be paying for them for the rest of your life. So if you're, I'm going to say some bad words, if you're not thinking clearly and you voted for that kind of junk, shame on you, because America is going to be great again. America is going to be healthy again. America is going to be honoring our military again. We're getting it together. And whether y'all want to jump on the train and ride with us or not, that's your business, that's your problem. But you know what's so sad? Even those who dishonor and disobey our flag, our values, and all of that, they will also reap the reward of a great America.
They will.
That's what's so sad. They will reap the reward of a great America.
Well, I don't necessarily see that as sad, though. Now,
I don't want them to reap it. I'm sorry, I'm mean.
Well, I mean, there needs to be justice, but I don't see it as sad because, you know, we've talked about weak men and women bring about hard times. Mm-hmm. Hard times create strong men and women. Good men and women. Mm-hmm. So strong and good men and women bring about good times. And that's what will have to open the eyes to individuals to change their path.
I think they're just blinded stupid.
They're blinded, and I got to thinking, you know, here recently, and I'll share a little bit of information of some of this stuff that's coming out. But, you know, Jesus, when he was here, he taught. There's so many things in the Bible, the teachings that the Bible has from the Old Testament to the New Testament is applicable in our lives today.
Absolutely.
You just have to ask God to give you the wisdom to apply it to your life and say, how does it work? But Jesus was like, give them ears to hear. You know, they don't have ears to hear. The prayers were give them ears to hear and eyes to see. The problem is when you give over to animosity and you give over to bitterness and you give over to self-centeredness, that's a lack of discipline and strength. Mm-hmm. They've blinded themselves because they've chosen.
That's crazy.
They've chosen not to have a love of the truth, okay, because of personalities. They are ruled by their emotions. And Sherry, an individual that's ruled by their emotions is going to, now, I've had close to road rage incidents before.
Oh, me too.
But there's no boundary to where their emotions will take them. You know, there's no boundary. I will steal, I will lie, I will cheat. And I was heartbroken that our nation has gotten to the point, and there's a subsection of our society that is so degraded and so lack a love of the truth that they can't cheer the recognition of American citizens. And that young man that you can't stand up and cheer. And I don't know what to do with that. There are people that we've had in our lives that they can't embrace the truth. And these same individuals claim to be individuals of integrity. They claim to say that Elon Musk and Trump, because they don't like their personality, that they're thieves, they're totalitarians. They've done more to expose the fraud that has been taking place.
That's what's wrong.
Well, here's an example. So listen to this. This came out. So the Department of Government Efficiency is laying these individuals bare. And I can tell you right now, the ones that are screaming the loudest are the ones that have been grifting the system at your expense. Your cost of living is higher. Your taxes are higher. You're hurt across the board in many ways because of the policies that they've implemented. And we want to, yes, we need to care about people, but they play on your emotions and they give you this, oh my gosh, these people are losing their jobs. Oh my gosh, yes, it is heartbreaking that people are losing their jobs. I'm both thrilled that we're getting rid of this corruption and foolish spending, and I'm heartbroken because of the fact that we've gotten here. But this came out today, so Maxine Waters, which is one of those that refused to get up and speak.
She makes my blood boil.
I wonder if she's
psycho.
She's been
nuts.
caught funneling over $1 million in regulated funds to her daughter. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you go back and some of these nonprofits that they've discovered had no business 2 years ago, and they're getting $2 and $3 billion. I can tell you right now.
In Georgia.
They didn't think that they would get caught. Okay? They didn't think that they would get caught, and they're funneling your taxpayer dollars in. And, in another situation, and the thing that breaks my heart, the more educated somebody is, for whatever reason, the harder they have to see the truth of what's taking place.
Common sense. There's no degree for common sense, and I think that's the problem. I know somebody who got her doctorate, and all of a sudden she changed the way she treats people, she changed the way she acts. She changed her marriage of 30 some odd years. She changed everything because now she's holier than thou, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You're still the same girl that didn't even have a high school diploma. You just bettered yourself. But don't better yourself and take somebody else down with you. That's stupid.
Correct.
Use your common sense. Common sense.
So, and I think it was one of those things where the other side, because they have been foolish stewards of the positions that they've been in, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say they didn't realize that this fraud, grift, and graft has been taking place.
They created it.
You're not doing your job if you don't realize. So all these people that aren't marked as dead in Social Security, so even if they're not getting a check, what we're finding out is there's other ways that they can benefit through the system.
One of them is over 300 years old.
Yeah, I mean, that's before Social Security was even started, before the foundation of our country.
Exactly.
So somebody had to go in and implement that. So I think what we're seeing is the first part of what's taking place. Now, what I hope is that there's justice.
Oh, man.
And if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're an independent, I don't care who you are, there should be consequences. And my belief is, and what we've seen, not only should their wealth be stripped away, but the wealth of their children stripped away too, because of the fact that they've done it at the expense of you and your children. Okay? If I'm paying 35-40% of what I make in taxes, in addition to property taxes, in addition to sales taxes, in addition to car taxes, in addition to all of the increased costs in health care because they game the system for the benefit of those around them, and you have been in a public servant position and you've increased the burden on the average individual and your children have benefited from that, then they need to lose those funds. I'm sorry.
I want to read something. You know this gentleman. He's here in Gilmer County. We love George Wynn. He sends out some inspirational messages. And today I got this, or yesterday I think I got this, and I think this applies for today. Be silent if you don't know the whole story, the full story. Be silent when you feel too emotional. Be silent in the heat of anger. Be silent if your words can offend a person. Be silent if your words can destroy a friendship. Be silent if you can't talk without yelling. Be silent if your silence can save bonds. Okay. When we think about what we saw last night, what was that man's name, Al Green?
Yes.
That stood up and was mouthy and mouthy and mouthy in front of the whole world. And he just kept mouthing. Well, if I had been a congressman, I'm glad y'all didn't elect me, because I would be jumping out of my seat, knocking his lights out, because sometimes I don't know how to hold down my emotions. But I try to never say anything that's going to hurt somebody to the core. I've had it done to me over and over and over. And we are taught in the Bible to forgive.
Yes.
And you try to forgive, but you never forget what is said to you in anger. That little 13-year-old boy, and we're going to play this soundbite from the president's speech last night. That little 13-year-old boy will never understand why half of America supported him and loved that he was beating brain cancer. I'm getting cold chills talking about this. And then half of his United States government sat there on their butts, on their hands, texting and acting like idiots, just pure idiots. When he goes home, and he's going to watch this over and over and over. His family's going to watch this over and over and over. It shows that America is about 47% stupid and 53% smart, because everybody in that gallery should have stood up, applauded, and forgotten everything that you were thinking about the president. If you don't like the president, if you don't like Elon, I don't care who you don't like. That child was being honored.
He was, but I want to say this. It is not 47% of the population.
What is it?
It's about 25.
Good. I love it. I feel better.
It's about 25% of the population.
Nuts. Just nuts.
For whatever reason, the Democratic Party has chosen narcissistic individuals that make it all about them.
Mm-hmm. Al Green.
And they can
he
care
should
less
have been
about anybody
arrested
else.
last night.
Oh, he just wanted attention.
It was so stupid. Okay, we're going to show this soundbite. If you didn't stay up late and you didn't watch this, I turned it off when the Democrat gave their rebuttal, because who cares what they had to say? Don't care, don't matter. But listen to this, just watch this.
DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago. Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Okay, you've just seen, my opinion, the photo of the year. Every magazine should have that on the cover of a magazine. They won't do it because it's something that our president did. So sadly, a lot of people will not honor, will not say, but Laken Riley was honored. Corey, who was killed in Butler, Pennsylvania, was honored. The police officer who was killed by an illegal alien in New York City was honored.
Yeah.
So many people were honored. And the little girl in Houston that was held under a bridge and brutalized for hours, she was honored. Last night was a night of honoring those that are now going to be protected, because the border is no longer open for business. The border is no longer open for business. You know, we voted to change America, and it's happening at record speed.
It's happening at a pace that is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And encouraging. And when Trump was elected in 2016, when he came in 2017, I went from hoping, because one of the things so for 26 years I've been helping people manage their money and navigate. I've navigated the 2000 technology bubble crash.
You navigated the reign of terror by Biden and Obama, the two terms.
The crash of the markets in 2008, and we've survived all that, okay? And not only survived, but thrived and helped clients get through that. In no way have we navigated it perfectly, because, you know, one of the things that I do understand is I see what happens when we force people to gamble and they choose not to understand the risk that they're taking. So Trump comes in, he talks about the Federal Reserve. I see the Federal Reserve and the inflation that they put on the American people as a great evil, a great enemy. I don't have time to go through and teach everything about what's happened there, but they have bailed out the risk takers at the expense of the average individual. And I didn't understand this. So there are two parts of our economy. I understood it, but I didn't realize that the Democratic Party had changed so much. So there is capital. So capital being those individuals that have accumulated wealth, okay, businesses. And then there's labor. So labor being your middle class, your blue collar individual, people that are punching the clock. Labor's still small business owners, okay? Small business owners, your plumbers, your electricians. So you work with your hands for a living. So the Democratic Party and what they did, and even to be fair, the Bush administration, most of your politicians before that, and I told people they would talk to this side of the policy base and they'd go in that direction. They'd talk in this side to the policy base and they'd go in that direction. They were doing the same thing. So Trump said he was going to really deal with the Federal Reserve. So he gets in there, makes foolish decisions, surrounds himself with a bunch of deep state people that were working against him.
Didn't know who to trust. Yeah.
He didn't know who to trust.
No.
And look back, sometimes I wonder if he actually thought he would win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he gets in there and he grabs the Federal Reserve, and instead of putting them in their place and auditing them, he just throws it out there like markets, markets, markets. So where we are now, he came in, and last night he made the statement that there's going to be some pain in the short run. I emailed to myself exactly what he said, and I didn't commit it to memory. I got sidetracked this morning. But basically he said there's going to be some pain in the short run. Now, what he's doing through finding this government corruption, and they're right. Elon Musk is right. We are bankrupt as a country if we don't deal with this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In addition to that, these individuals are using our dollars. We can see it clear as day. If you choose to see the truth, they're funneling this money back to them for their own political purposes. You know, if I want the best to come in our country, but let me give you an example. So dealing with the illegal immigrants, all right? So dealing with the illegal immigrants, I have a friend and associate, not associate, a friend, let's put it that way, that has a business, and they've been having to compete with someone who had illegal immigrants, all right? Now, they don't have workers' compensation insurance. They don't have, you know, and if something goes bad on the job,
cash on the deal.
they just bolt town. Now, this is not all immigrants. This has nothing to do with race. I'm talking about illegals, right?
Right.
So they're fighting tooth and nail to try to make ends meet because they're held to a standard of law that the illegals are not held to.
And workman's comp is a hard hit.
Oh, it's ridiculously
That's a hard
expensive.
hit.
And for those of you that know, business owners, if you pay for workers' comp and you get injured on the job, it doesn't cover you.
No,
it's only for your employees. Okay,
Yeah,
it
learned
doesn't
that the
cover
hard
you
way.
as a business
Yeah.
owner. So well, anyway, their competitors, it's been a problem for them for quite some time. Made a mistake, left the customer hanging. An investigation came in. They took them and deported them, arrested them, deported them because they were criminals. And then come to find out that they had some, you know, illicit activities that were going on the side. So by leveling the playing field for American workers, now they can compete and have a fair wage. And that's the same thing that the tariffs are doing. You know, like the media, just let me tell you, the mainstream media, when they have their talking points and the Democratic Party's talking points, just understand they're telling you the opposite of what's going to happen, okay? Trump has been very clear. All I want to do is level the playing field with the tariffs. Okay, so let's put that in perspective. Leveling the playing field in the tariffs is good for labor. This is good for 75% of the population. Will it cause prices to go up in the interim period or stay higher? Yes, and possibly. But we got to deal with it at some point in the future at the expense of capital. And what I mean by that, so if you're Apple and you have a situation to where you can produce goods in China because their labor is cheaper.
$1 a day and a bowl
right?
of rice. Yeah.
So you can produce goods in China because of the way the system is set up, that you can produce it cheaper there. Well, guess what? That's losing American jobs. They ship it over here and then they sell it. That's hurting your salary potential as an individual for the benefit of capital, so that Apple and Wall Street and the people that I work with, right, can make more money. Now, if you equalize those tariffs, which is what Trump says he wants to do, all I'm doing is matching what everybody else is doing to us. So if you match those tariffs, guess what? Now it costs you just as much to produce that good in China as it does in the United States. Now we're supporting American jobs. We're helping wages to go up. We're helping, create a foundation with our country where you've got to build the manufacturing plants. You're producing manufacturing here. I remember when I was in high school in the early 90s, there were still manufacturing plants here.
Sure.
But they got gutted.
Dickens Footwear, H.D. Lee,
Yes.
Levi. There are 3 that employed over 1,500 people in 3 counties.
Yes.
1,500 people in 3 counties.
Yes. So now you've gotten to where the manufacturings are Lockheed and some of these others, and that's defense, which ended up staying here for the most part. But if you equalize that playing field, that's going to hurt Apple's profits, but guess what? It's going to help about 75 to 80, 90% of the population. So you've got the media scaring people to death, because the reality is I have the benefit that I do research for a living. I love to study. I love to learn. I consume every bit of information that I can and to learn. And I look at, okay, don't look at what people say, look at what they do. And when they show you who they are, just like the Democratic Party did last night, they showed you who they are.
Made me sick.
They love hate to the extent that they can't even cheer something good that happened, and actually got me teary-eyed too, to a young man and family that's been through an incredible battle.
My God.
That's something as Americans that we should all jump up and cheer, okay? And look, quite frankly, the Bible's clear if you look at it. Your enemies will teach you more about your own weaknesses than those close to you, because they're going to point out your weaknesses, right?
Right.
So we are a body and we should work together, and we are Americans and we should be able to cheer. I mean, there are things that the Democratic Party has done and stand for that I support. Not all of it, but there are good things, right? They're not all fools. They're not all wrong. They're not missing the mark completely. So what is wrong with our country? Have we degraded so far that we embrace hate and division to where we can't even cheer something that is encouraging to a family and a young individual that's been through time? So my point being is, that long-winded answer, I am both thrilled and horrified by what's taken place. I am so excited that we finally have somebody in there that is courageous enough to lay the grift out there. And the way Trump explained it, we're going to let the cards fall where they are.
Exactly.
If it causes the stock market to go down 30 or 50%,
the truth will stand when everything else fails.
the truth will stand when everything else fails.
Yep.
But a lie and bitterness is easy to go down, and it's sour. But it allow to travel the world because it goes to itching ears. So I think this, I hope that they're successful. And the thing that I like is Elon Musk said, look, can we pull this off without doing major damage? I don't know. But I can tell you this, if we continue down the path that we were on, either my kids or our grandkids are going to have a bankrupt nation and ultimately be a third world. No different than the Roman Empire, no different than Argentina before they collapsed, no different than all of the empires throughout history have collapsed because good men create good times. Good times create weak individuals. And that's why wealth doesn't last more than 3 generations, because you end up with a bunch of spoiled little trust fund babies that see themselves for an image, and they think their money can protect them, and their money will not. The only thing that will is God and the character that he can treat you to survive time. None of us are guaranteed that the wealth that we have today is going to be there tomorrow.
That's it.
Okay?
That's it.
Nuke goes off in Los Angeles, life as we know it changed. And if you think that money's going to protect you and be there on the other side of that, you can forget it. Only your character, the relationships that you have with the people around you, and you know, I care more about can I trust and respect somebody than their personality.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I've had that hard lesson on I trusted somebody I shouldn't have trusted. I believed in somebody I shouldn't have believed in, and then when it all came about, everybody looks at me and says, how do you handle what you went through? And I said, it was God's lesson. It just was a lesson, and you just have to accept it as that. But when I think about today in my country, I'm at that age, I won't be here much longer, but there are children who will be. And on Monday, because we had a little computer glitch, we didn't get to show a child that I ended up getting to raise at an old age. He was the last of the Mohegans for me to raise. And he might have been spoiled. He was 9 years old when my husband went to be with Jesus. So it was just Nick and I for a long time. And now I'm going to show you his birthday pictures. He was racing, he was having fun, he was playing musical instruments, he was doing all kinds of things that he loved to do because we were able to do that because business was good and we had some money. And then he was there as we lost everything we had. Now this is the window. I want y'all to come down to Ball Ground. Every season I change these windows and I try to keep a Coca-Cola theme because I love Coca-Cola and we've got a beautiful Coca-Cola mural in downtown Ball Ground. But I want you to get out and look around and see America is better today than it was 4 months ago. America is going to be so much better in 18 months. I think in 18 months we will see a difference, but I've been trying to explain to my kids, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm at that age. Okay, and this I want to invite all of you to the beautiful, beautiful vineyard here in Gilmer County on Round Top, Ingelheim Vineyard. I started to say brewery, but it's vineyard. And this is for an Easter sunrise service at 7 a.m. on Easter Day. And you just come and sit and enjoy and reflect, and there will be a wonderful message delivered. And that's going to be such a beautiful, beautiful day.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that pretty? And that's right here in Gilmer County. We all have seen so much. We have gone through so much. We've buried kids, we've buried our husbands, we've been left alone and everything taken from us. We've gone through a lot, but right now together we can go through what I think is going to be the greatest time in America. And when I do these windows, I always think of my daughter who helped me. We did displays all over the world for Kroger and we designed products for them and we had such a good time. She's not here anymore. But I have to stay focused and happy. Now this is Dominic's in Ball Ground. If you have not gone there on a Saturday and had a steak, well, slap yourself and go this Saturday. You have to call and reserve steaks. They serve the meat that comes from Wilkes Market, which is a great meat, wonderful meat. So this is Nick's birthday dinner. We just had a little family dinner and enjoyed time together. We're lucky to still be here because we've gone through some things. Could have taken me out of here, could have taken him out of here. We are blessed to be here. Life is a lesson or a blessing. And I'm so thankful that in about 3 weeks, he's going to be taking his master plumber's test. I hope he can pass it. He's been working as a plumber for years and years and years, and I hope he can pass it. He has the support of the guys he's working with. You know, life is just a test. It's just a test. You take this test and you pass it. You move on to this test and you pass it. You move on, but the way you treat people is the greatest test of all.
Absolutely.
How do you treat the people around you? How do you handle failure? How do you handle when things go totally wrong? Well, if you scream and cuss and throw things and call people names, that's not the way you handle it. You just look back and say, okay, I can do it. This is when he was rotten. He was spoiled rotten and he was racing every weekend. And this is, he and Angela loved hanging out together. And this is one of my favorite pictures. They were so super close, and it breaks my heart that she's not here to see him become a human because he's been a rotten kid forever and now he's a human. So, so life is good, but when life throws you those like being hit up in the head with a big 2x4, you just deal with it. You know, you deal with it, but you don't treat other people badly because life threw something at you. And I loved when I was reading George Wynn's thing, and I said, you know, it is about how do you react when things go wrong in your life. And a lot's gone wrong in my life. Y'all have witnessed it. You've seen me survive things I didn't think I could survive, and I have, and it's by the grace of God, purely by the grace of God. And we will survive. The Democrats acting stupid. We will survive.
We will.
This. We will survive.
We will.
This.
And we have to set the standard.
Absolutely.
For you know, standing for what is true and right.
But you know, if I'd have been there, you know me well enough to know I'd have jacked that man's jaws. I'd have jacked that man's jaws. It'd have been a bad day.
Well, I thought the speaker handled it correctly.
He did. He did. He called him out and had him removed, and he should have had him removed. Yeah.
And Trump handled it
well.
well.
And this, Paul, I wanted to share this with you. If you know anybody who needs to invest, we would love to sell them. We have several homes ready in Malone's Pond and finished product, and this is growing. It's so cool to see Ball Ground turning into an amazing hub where people love to walk to town, they love to walk to dinner, they love to walk and get to know their neighbors. It is becoming a walking community, and it is the coolest thing ever. And it's because people are choosing, but it's so funny, everybody that's moved in with us is 30-mile residents. From 30 miles they moved into us. So they might have lived in Milton, they might have lived in Forsyth County, they might have lived at Town Center, but it's so cool. And to see this product become a real finished development is just the coolest thing ever. So I'm so honored to get to share this every single day. That's what I do, and I love it. I love my job. I love everything about promoting Ball Ground and the goodness of Ball Ground. Ball Ground is full of good churches, good volunteers, people who work together. It doesn't matter where you came from. When you get to Ball Ground, you join this club and this club and this club. And this is one of the greatest things that's happened in Ball Ground. Dominic's Mission was founded by one of Dominic's. He owns Dominic's Restaurant in downtown Ball Ground. They're from New York, but they brought their New York attitude in a big way with the big kindness for Ball Ground. And they opened a food mission where you can go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you are hurting and you need groceries, go to Dominic's Mission and they will help you. They will provide food for you. They will pray with you. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And this, April the 5th, put it on your calendar. Yep, we'll be back at Kimsey Ridge. And once again, that great gospel music that you've come to know and love right here at ETC. So it's going to be a big deal and a lot of fun, and you will love that facility. It is absolutely gorgeous. So, all right, we've got to take a commercial break. We're going to take a commercial break, and in honor of Patsy Cline, we're going to do a song by another oldie, and let's see if y'all know who this is. Here we go.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy told him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it off. Love your mind.
Welcome to our ETC Game of the Week. From McDaniel. That one is poked out in the eye. Oh,
that one hits him in the head.
From Crisp. That one.
3-2. Good lick.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Boomer crash to judge the president pushing for a broader, wider.
We're back. We're back. The boys surprised us. We're reading and we're getting smarter by the minute. You know.
Sorry.
We're talking about eating healthy and living wealthy and just, you know, and Paul, I say this all the time. When you leave here, it doesn't matter what you made in your lifetime, what you're leaving people. It's the memories and the thoughts that you left behind. Because people will look at you and say, I dealt with him for years and he was brutally honest. And that is something.
That's good and bad.
That is good and bad. Because sometimes you hurt somebody's feelings when you say, well, I know you want to do that, but this is the better path to take. You have to be brutally honest. And somebody, I love this about me. Somebody who's been dealing with me for 30 some odd years in different business ventures said, you always tell it like it is, whether it's what I want to hear or not. And I said, well, do you want me to sugarcoat it and then you not come out on the good end? And they said, no, don't sugarcoat it.
You know what? That is love. Mm-hmm. That is love for someone else. So love is more than an action than it is a statement. And if we are to love others, then we have to warn them. Now, we may be wrong, right? Our perspective may be wrong, but we have to risk offending those that we care about.
Well, your
to
kids are a
help point
perfect
them in the right
example.
direction. Oh, yeah.
Look at your kids, and I was reading something. Kel had a trailer for sale.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was reading that last night, and I thought, I'm so proud of this kid.
Well, thank you.
I'm
I
just
love it.
reading that ad and thinking, that's a good boy, you know? And I thought, you know, you take them through the path, and Lord knows I've taken some. Everybody knows the path that Dawn took for years and years and years. Now she's teaching the Bible.
Yep.
So, you know, we don't know what kind of path the Lord's going to send us on, but along the way, what we do for others will be our glory in the end. It won't be how much money you made. It won't be how many diamond rings you have. It won't be any of that stuff. It will be, what did you do along the way for others?
Well, and people will not remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. And you can still say tough things to people, and they will understand that you cared about them. I had one of the most, to me, y'all may think this is crazy, but one of the best compliments that I've probably ever had in my life. Just an example of trying to live by those biblical principles. I had an individual that's, you know, we all have people that our personalities conflict with. And I you know, they were taking pop shots at me. I wasn't as mature as I am today. I didn't see their perspective. I popped off at them and created an enemy. But they needed help, and they called. And when I saw the call, it's like, well, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. And they were like, look, I need some help, and I really can't stand you. But I trust you.
Yeah,
will you help me?
That's awesome.
And
that's
I
awesome.
said, absolutely, I will help you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know what that does is it. Now I've opened that door to where we can get over those emotions, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw that phone ring, I had to put down my pride. I had to put down, but all I could think of is, and it happened right after I got finished doing my morning prayer. If I hadn't done my morning prayer, I probably wouldn't answer the phone. But that's what life's about.
Yeah.
God loves us in spite of all of our weaknesses.
In spite of all our weaknesses.
And as much as I strive to hit the mark, I hope I don't, but I'm gonna fail. I fail every day, right? But you try to reach out towards that goal. And I believe that's why us in America becoming a godless society. People argue with me when I say we're not a Christian nation anymore. We're not.
No.
We're not.
It's sad.
And the reason is if we understand that our death, we have to meet our maker, the author of truth, the writer of our story, then, and we understand that we have failed and that God has forgiven us, how can we not forgive others?
In 2 minutes, you need to tell people, because I have people all the time who say, why do you turn it over to God? Why do you give it to God? Because I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Explain to me, to somebody who doesn't believe in God. Give me a short why they should.
Oh my goodness. I haven't thought about how to explain that in a long time.
He's real. Somebody told me, they said, well, I've never seen him. I've never seen anything he did. And I said, did you see the sunrise this morning?
Yeah.
Did you see the sunset yesterday? Did you see your beautiful child who's healthy and happy? Yeah, I don't get it.
Just like anything. So to me, I grew up in the church, and I was fortunate in that. But all I could see was the hypocrites that were there. Okay, the individual on the front row that was raising their hands, acting holier than thou, going home beating their wife, cheating in business, horrible to their kids. What I've learned as I've gotten older is that's humanity. Okay, but each of us have this desire. We want someone to be who they portray themselves to be, okay? Because we want to trust, but we're falling in our human nature. So God's clear about the curses that we had in the Bible. You know, at the fall of the Garden of Eden, and there's a deception that's out there in the world. But what I have learned, and the prayer that I gave years ago, is, Lord, do whatever it is you see fit with me to turn me into the man that you created me to be. Now, I wouldn't want to go through a lot of things that I've been through, and I'm nowhere near the man that I desire to be or God wants me to be, because, you know, I have potty mouth, to be quite frankly. That's something that I struggle with. And you cut me off at a four-way stop, I'm going to wave at you with 4 less fingers than I should.
Yeah.
But I have to catch that. That's one of my struggles that I fight through. But the thing that I can tell you and is, if you sit down at the corner of your bed and you say, God, or just put it out there and say, show me what I can change in my life to be better. God's always there to reach out. And in my life, there are things that someone has meant for my destruction that God has used for my good. So I have learned in reading the Bible and starting the book of Proverbs. Okay, look at the wisdom that's taught. God raises out to us, and this is one of the things that I know He is true, because there's a way that the world tells us that we can live. And we have enough information looking out through history now that says what the world tells us to live, to pursue money at all costs, to live as you want, to live for yourself, leads to destruction. In the Old Testament, God says, blessings or curses, choose you this day. The cool thing is we get to choose every day, right? If we failed, you can change the decision making that you have. You have a choice in that decision making. So for me, I don't have anything that says, God told me. I've had thoughts coming into my mind that I can look back, and that thought set me in a path that was great. I've had thoughts come into my mind that I realize now were me telling me what I wanted to hear that led to destruction. But what I do know is if those thoughts that come into my mind after I've been praying and humbling myself before the Lord seeking advice, rarely does it come in my head. It comes from somebody shares something with me and there's another bit of information. And if you have the faith to look for it, what is it the Bible says, if you look for treasure with all your heart, you'll find it. We have to look for that. For me, God is as real as they can be. I cannot deny Him in any way whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Because my lived experience has been that, because the Bible tells me the fruit that you get if you choose curses, you don't do what's right. I have experienced those. And the fruit that you get if you choose blessings. I have experienced those. And unfortunately, and two, it says God disciplines those that He loves. If you put it out there and say, look, I don't know the answer, right? I just want to be what it is that you desire me to be in this world, to impact the lives of others for the better. Because what greater can we do, right? What greater legacy that can we leave than to when we're gone, there's a void in the lives of the individuals. Not that, you have to be careful with that, because you don't want to be God in somebody's life to an extent. There is the temptation to go there. Like, here's where we should be. And our own desires and evil pushes us here, maybe here or here. The hard part's staying in this area. But if you know that people can call you because they trust you to tell them the truth when nobody else will. They can call you because they know that in spite of your own emotions, that God tells you to forgive. And they say, hey, look, I'm sorry, don't like it, but I need your help. How much more can be, how much better would our country be if our Democrats looked at it like that?
That's amazing. That's
God. A horrible answer.
Yeah, no, that's
right?
God.
But in
that's
my
God.
experience, God is real, and that's that still small voice that's calling out to you. And the whole world, because I believe there's a battle between good and evil. You can see it, right? What's wrong with you shall not lie? Now, don't get me wrong. There's a temptation line. My wife is like, hey, do you like this outfit? Does it look good on me? Like, I'm just the dumb.
Sure, honey, it looks great. No, not really.
I'm the dumb butt that's like, honey, I wouldn't wear that in public if I was you. And she's like, well, I like it. I'm wearing it anyway. That's great.
Okay.
But what's wrong with, you shall not lie, you shall not steal, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not do all of these things, honor your parents, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It leads to a better life than lying, stealing, cheating, hurting, and selfishness.
That's it. The time is up. We got to go. I'm so sorry that this hour isn't longer than it is, but thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for trusting. I know you trust me or you wouldn't tune in every day. And thank you for sweet messages. And thank you for praying for me, because I need your prayers every single day. And please continue to pray for our nation, our president, and our next 4 years.
Yes.
Yay. Yay.
Yes.
Bye,
for the
y'all.
good of all Americans.
For the good of all Americans.